Hey guys, welcome to Pajamas and Pillow Talk. Today's segment is about strength. I know many of you can relate to being the backbone, the rock, the go to person of your family and friends. But when do you say enough is enough? So I came from one of the most ruthless projects in Philadelphia, 31st and Tasker. And coming from that environment, all we were ever taught was to be tough. My family didn't show any emotion. Therefore, I didn't come from a family with hugs and kisses and I love yous. I knew my grandmother who raised me loved me because if she didn't, she would have never took me in. She would have never vowed to take care of me. She would have never taught me all the things that she have taught me. I knew by her actions, let's say that. I knew by her actions that she loved me, regardless if she said it or not. But I had to be tough because of the environment that I came from. And this goes back from the people that came before me from 31st and Tasker Homes Project. I always had to fight. And I always had to fight, not just for myself, but just because of where I came from. So whatever it is that happened before I was brought into this world or when I was younger and didn't even understand why, I had to fight. I had to fight because of where I came from. And it wasn't just because it was a project. It was because of the project that I came from. So I was always fighting. And that turned me into this mean, strong being. In my era, when I was growing up, the light-skinned girls were in. So imagine a chocolate girl with natural hair walking down your street when light skin is in and being picked upon for no reason. I had to fight on top of where I came from. My hood, my project was not the best liked in the area. And imagine a middle school girl going to school what is known in our area as across the tracks, where I had to walk as a commute means 20 blocks to middle school and fight my way to school and fight my way from school, all because of where I was from. Now, can I help where my family landed to live? No, but I knew enough to know that I had to fight. And that stayed with me for all my life. And it's a good and a bad thing. Because all my life I've been fighting. I've been fighting. I've been fighting, y'all, all my life. And it's always a flip side to that coin. I love my hood to death. I love where I came from because it taught me so many things. So many things. I'm so grateful to have experienced that, to have gone through that, to have witnessed that, to have lived through that. Because I honestly believe if you're from my hood, you from my project, you know, you get me. You understand that if you can make it through that, You can make it through anything. And I've always told my husband that. See, he came from the hood. And we always have these debates. And I tease him and I say, you came from the hood, but I came from the projects. To me, that's a difference. It's a difference. And we can debate about that another time. but he gets it now. He gets it. And him being 10, 12 years my senior, he understands, because even when he was younger, he would say, oh, we didn't go to your project. We ain't go there. We knew better. We knew not to tread those waters. And growing up in that environment, like I said, it was a gift and it was a curse. And the gift was, it allowed me to see through those trying to use me, those trying to manipulate me, get over on me. I could see you. I could see straight through that. And I think that had a lot to do with why I gravitated to older men, why guys in my age bracket didn't last, because I could see through all the BS. All the BS. I was the only girl in the growing up in a house full of boys. I was the only girl my mother had gave birth to. And so a lot of people say I was before my time. And I'd like to agree with that. I like to thank my older brothers, my older cousins, uncles, who put me up on game early. So yes, I was before my time. And I feel like they were prepping me for the real world, for the world outside of Tasker Holmes Project. Because they knew that although this world is ruthless, that world out there is even more ruthless. And so you couldn't pull the wool over my eyes. Older guys couldn't just come and whisper some sweet nothings in my ear and tell me how they loved my skin or how pretty that I was, because that didn't work on me. It didn't. You couldn't just come and tell me anything, because I was already equipped. And that's what I loved about my hood, is that we were equipped to face the world outside of our projects. And I'm forever indebted for that. I'm forever grateful for that. I love my hood with everything in me. It taught me everything that I know, everything I know to be, everything that I am. Although I've moved outside of that, I never forget where I came from, ever. I remember my middle school coach, Miss Yancey from Pierce Middle School, her telling me that I was ugly. And you have to remember that I am in middle school, but I am also in the era where light skin is popping. You hear me? You know how melanin is in now? Light skin was popping like that back in the day. And so you have to remember that I'm a young girl from one of the most ruthless projects in Philadelphia, and your coach coming to tell you that you're ugly. You talking about spazzing. All I saw was red. And I think she saw that in my eyes. But she also saw through me and said, I'm not referencing your exterior. I'm referencing your interior. Your personality is ugly. The way you act is ugly. Your demeanor is ugly. But I know that you're better than that, because I see through you, and I know you can be better than that. And it was at that point where I went home after fighting my way home, for all my Tasker people that are watching this from across the tracks, you know, fighting all the across the tracks girls. On my way home, that I lie in my bunk bed that I share with my brother on the top bunk and contemplate who it is I wanted to be. But you have to remember, I'm in 8th grade. And I saw no change. I saw nothing outside of Tasker Homes projects. We were our own little family. We were our own little community. And I saw nothing outside of that. But I remember lying in my bed that day, and I just wanted to run away. Right, y'all? I packed up my clothes, trash bag full of clothes, and I attempted to climb out of the window, there was a roof right there where I was going to jump off that roof, and I was just going to run. I don't know where the hell I was going to run to, but I was going to run. And I just remember looking at my younger brother and telling him, I love you. And I'm going to come back for you. But I want better. And I needed better. And I just needed to find who I was. And him being, 3 years younger than I was? Oh, the look in his eyes. For me not to leave was why I stayed. And I knew that my presence mattered. And no matter how I felt, no matter what I thought was out there that was better for me, that my presence on Mountain Drive and Tasker Homes mattered. And I think that was the point where I realized I couldn't be weak, because there were people that were counting on me. There were people that needed me. And we had already been abandoned. We had already been left down, or let down, I'm sorry, by our parents. And I just looked at his little beady eyes and I knew I couldn't let him down. I knew that I had to protect him, and I had to be there for him. And I think that has a lot to do where my nurturing comes in it. Even when it comes to my nieces and nephews, I took a hold to them, and I just wanted to protect them. And I just wanted to be there for them, and I just wanted to love them, because it was something that not only had I haven't experienced, but it was instilled in me to be this protector, to be this mom figure, to be this go-to, to be this backbone, to be the support that my family needed. Like my grandmother, I just felt like I was the glue to hold it all together. And it honestly wasn't until my grandmother passed away that I realized that. Me and my cousin Michelle crying so profusely at my grandmother's bedside, and her on her deathbed just telling me to come here and grabbing my hand and just telling me to be strong. That She had lived her life. She had done all it is that she could do, not just for her children, for her grandchildren, for her great grands. And I knew in that moment that I had to be strong, not just for her, but for everyone else. And my emotion, everything that I was feeling, had to go out the window. And was it hard? Hell yeah. Imagine the person raising you, giving you knowledge, teaching you right from wrong, giving you unconditional love as if she had birthed you, no longer being here. That was a hard pill to swallow. But I knew I had to be strong because she had demanded it. She had ordered it. And if you know me, you know that there was one thing I didn't do, and that was disobey Mary. She just had this aura about her, this feminine but masculinity about her that demanded respect. And I wanted nothing else but to be like that. Demand respect when you walk into the room. I mean, people sit up at attention and pay homage to her when she walked in the room. And her poise, everything about her was perfect to me. She could do no wrong. She told it like it was. She didn't care about your opinions of her or of what she said. And I wanted nothing else but to hold her courage, for her to be proud of me. And as I stated, I didn't come from a family of hugs and kisses and I love yous. And on her deathbed, when she told me how much she loved me and how much she was proud of me, it meant a lot to me because I had worked so hard to please her and to make her proud. And it felt good to know that even though I was this troubled kid and I was a bully and I was a shit starter, I always had parents knocking at her door. I was grateful. I was grateful to have been in her presence. I was grateful to have learned as much as I did from her. And I didn't want her to leave this earth without her knowing that. And so, at that moment, I knew, although she wanted me to be strong, I just couldn't, right? But the cherry on top was, a couple years later, I lost my mother. And everyone expected me to be okay within a couple days or a week after burying my mother. Now, if you haven't lost your mother, I just want you to, God forbid, put yourself in my position of planning the funeral, writing the obituary, just executing every single detail, just feeling overwhelmed, just beating yourself up about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. What if I was there when she took her last breath? Would she have fought more to stay? What could have I done differently to make her want to fight, to make her see that there was more worth living for. Imagine just tearing your guts out about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas and coming up with nothing. Just drawing a blank and blaming yourself for it all. And still having these individuals around you, close family and friends, depending on you to be strong, to get through it, to get over it. That was when I had my breaking point. And I said enough was enough. I had family members calling me, venting and crying about relationships that had just ended. I'm talking 4 days after I buried my mother. The selfishness that I endured after burying my mother was unbelievable. And that is when I knew enough was enough. Because it opened up my eyes to realize, to see, and to understand that people didn't give a damn about what I was going through. Regardless if me and my mother was the best of friends or not, that was still my mother. She still birthed me. Was she in and out of my life? Yes. Who cares? She entered my life when it was necessary. She entered my life when I needed her. And I realized that growing up in the environment that I did, I held on to this grudge with her where, again, I gotta be the strong, this tough being where I can't show emotion and I can't let her know that I was hurt by the things that she had done to me in her past. And although I had forgiven her internally, I had never let that show until I beat myself up about that. And again, I blamed that on my environment. This wall that I was forced to put up of being strong. This environment that I had came from where it wasn't okay to show your vulnerability. It wasn't okay to show that you were weak. And I beat myself up about that. But it also woke me up to the people that were around me and me feeling used for my strength, for my wisdom, for my advice that I would give to my family and friends. And that was a wake-up call to me. Because no matter how strong a person is, you should always check on your strong friends, especially in a crisis in such a way that I endured, which was me losing my mother. And although I put up this exterior as if I was okay and I could handle, burying my mother and I could deal with her passing, internally, I was hurt. I was bruised. I was scorned. There were so many unanswered questions, and the people that were around me were oblivious to that. Or they were selfish. They didn't even care. Only thing they cared about were themselves and their feelings and what they needed from me. And so that was my breaking point on when enough was enough. So I encourage you all that is watching this video to check on your strong friend. Because although she may say she's okay and she has it handled and you've known her to be this fighter, this backbone for everyone, she's not okay. She is not okay. We have to check on our strong friends because they matter too. You have to sometimes put your feelings to the side and your wants and your needs to the side to check on your strong friend, to check on your strong family member, and just pour your love into them, especially when you know they are going through trying times. And I challenge us all to be better friends, to be better family members, and to not just sweep things under the rug, and to break down that wall, to break down that barrier, that exterior that we're so used to having up, and support each other, and to be there for each other in a crisis when you know it is most needed. I thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for my tears, but I will see you guys next week. Bye.